Welcome to the Coaching Community Podcast hosted by ICF Tennessee. We're so excited to launch this work to celebrate, this season to celebrate our 30 years of our chapter. We are creating this space really for coaches to reflect on their journey, share meaningful stories, and contribute to the collective story of the coaching community. At ICFTN, we exist to engage, develop, and support professional coaches, creating an inclusive community where every coach belongs. Our mission is to empower coaches to thrive, grow, and positively impact the world. Today, I'm joined by our current and amazing ICF Tennessee President, Anna Walker. Hi, Anna. Thank you so much for doing this
Hello.
first episode with me.
Hello, Hannah. This is so very exciting. Thank you for your work. This has been a long time coming. We've
Mm-hmm.
worked on this for a little while and excited to be here today. Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, first, we want to get to know you and your story. So, can you tell us a little bit about what drew you to coaching and how did you know it was the right path for you?
I knew it was the right path for me maybe 20 some odd years ago when I was doing
Mm,
image consulting. I was working with individuals on presence and appearance, professional presence, how they showed up in interviews, and just interacting with life, and also just their wardrobing and outer image. And then it became a little bit deeper. There became a question about the congruency between their outer image and their inner image. And so it wasn't just about showing up and looking good and polished and having the right words and all of that. But it really was about the inner person, the character development, the gaps and knowledge that they needed in order to bring their best selves to any situation. And I realized that that no longer was about outer image. It was about inner image. And then I expanded into organizations. And so that branding became something that I really love to help organizations have congruency between how they showed up to customers and clients and really what their values are. So it really went from the individual to the organization. And that's when I decided, this is a thing. This is coaching. This is what it really, really feels like. And then that evolved for me to hone in on what it is that identifies what that real need is. And that became developing a niche liminal space. People find themselves in between the already and the not yet all the time. And so you're either going into liminal space, in the space, or coming out of it. And so just as we transition, organizations transition as well. And that's where I began to develop and identify this is where I belong.
wow. So inspiring. I feel like I could listen to you talk about the inner image and how it's expanded in organizations. As you think about, wow, this 20 plus year journey, what moments stand out to you as the especially meaningful or formative for you?
Oh my goodness, so many. I believe it's when the most interesting, this is what's coming to mind for some reason. The most interesting client I had was a police force. So these were, and I'm thinking, what do I say to this organization, and how they're really, but these were people who, you see crime, you see the hardness all the time. So they're having some interpersonal kind of relational issues, And so what stood out is I'm standing in front of, pretty much an all male audience and really being able to connect and hear real stories and be able to be able to hear and to coach on a level. And that's when I realized that coaching isn't about having alignment with everything, every client or every organization. You think, oh, I've got to contribute something specifically. No, coaching is at many, many levels in which you find that a person needs or an organization needs. And so the skills that we've been given, that's really what helps us to align with our clients, right? It isn't about the powerful questions anymore. It's about the listening and all of that. So I was really able to listen deeply and share. And it was one of the best coaching and group coaching experiences that I had. Individually, it was a person that was really transitioning from career into her second act. And she really didn't know, what do I do next? And so she had years of corporate experience, right? And so we really walked through her process and determined, I really don't want to be in corporate anymore. I really want to start my own coffee shop. I mean, she loved coffee. And it was just really an evolution of aha moments and just enlightenment to help her know my second act has nothing to do. I don't want to even bring that into, but I love traveling and experiencing different coffees and all of that. And so we really walked her through setting up that vision. So it was really from center to circumference, really, in terms of going deep and then saying, how do I want to show up in this second act, which had nothing to do almost with her first act, but everything to do with that inner person, that just something she really loved to do and be.
Wow. I felt like that's what's going to be such a treasure in this podcast is all those inspiring stories that
Yeah.
we're not on the inside of these engagements that we don't get to see what's happening in other coaching spaces. So being able to share some of those is well, and hear them is such a gift.
Yes. People are so they're so varied and in their how they show up and even their outer image. We think, oh, we tend to judge, or we tend to have preconceived notions about who people are, but the coaching, it helps us to help them dig deeper into who they
Yeah.
are. And that's the beauty when you see it emerging, and they're the self-discovery and all of the
Mm,
things that they're becoming right before our
yeah.
eyes. Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing else like that.
Yeah, it's
It's,
actually so rewarding. Yeah,
yeah.
'cause they're doing the
Awesome.
work, right? They're doing the work. We're just guides.
Yeah. We're witnesses
Yes,
to
yes,
their
we're witnesses.
transformation.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Speaking of transformation, I'd love to hear just what helped you go from coaching, both one-on-one and groups, into being a coaching leader in our ICF community.
That's a great question. And you know, interestingly enough, there are those, Hannah, who chart their course. I admire them so much. But my path has been so circuitous at best,
Mm,
really. And so as I have focused on the people,
yeah.
just connecting and engaging, I remember I showed up at the ICFTN meeting, and Patricia Leonard was at the desk. She was checking me in. She said, "You need to be on the membership committee." And I said, "I'm just joining. I'm new here." know. And I'm thinking, wow. But it was if you know Patricia Leonard, she's so engaging, intriguing. She's a
Mm,
go-getter. She is just amazing. And so she was one of the first coaches I met, and I thought, okay, she was like, it almost was not a no for an answer. And so she said, if you're going to be involved, if you're really going to be committed, then you need to join a committee. And so
mm,
that's been what I tell everyone now. So I joined the committee. The next year, I was the chair of the membership committee. And then, so I served on that for 2 years, then had a co-chair after that. And I think it was maybe 3 years as membership. And then I worked on community outreach on the board, serving on the board. And so now I've actually been on the board, I don't know, 7 years. And so my answer to that has just been the evolution of commitment and um, people oriented and wanting to see the vision of ICF come to pass and understand what the inner workings of the chapter so it shows up well and is able to
Mm.
offer the coaches the best that we can. So to be a part of what I call membership is really kind of the heart of the organization, and working um, with the board, it just became. I just hung my hat, and Brenda Baird, our past president, was like, "I'd like for you to consider president-elect," and I'm thinking, huh? The same, because again, some people say, I want to be, president-elect, president, they chart their path. I didn't. It was really just doing the work and
Yeah.
then gratefully and thankfully being recognized for that. So that's really how I became a leader. And now I'm going to put a shameless plug in this podcast for a president-elect because we're definitely, I know you're out there. And so, but I am entering into my third year. I won't say second term, but completed one term and into a third year. So we need you. But that's how I became a leader.
Yeah, and I just love it just shows so much in your heart for the board and all of our members and our community, just that you you bring so much to the members. It'll be big shoes to fill, but yes, we know you're out here and we want to keep you forever also.
Thank you.
So, as you think, I mean, you've been involved with this chapter a long time. What has the ICF Tennessee chapter and this community, what has it meant to you personally?
Personally, the community has meant a place that I can really call home as far as
Hmm.
coaching is concerned. Because it's a network of coaches. I've really built a very strong personal network. And I feel like because Tennessee is so different, we're two time zones, and really it's like living in three states, and this is what I've really learned because the West is different than the middle, is different than the East. And so
Hmm.
it's like three different regions and learning how they operate in different spaces in the coaching as coaching goes, in the profession of coaching, the approach to coaching is very different. It is not just about the diversity. It really is about the coach approach. And so we've really had to learn how, or I've really had to learn, the chapters had to learn to make those distinctives, and that has helped me in my coaching to really, again, different perspectives on how people think, how people approach coaching and the profession. The biggest thing, really, of course, is the coaching education. Being a part of ICF Global has expanded my reach. And really, even now, Hannah, even now, ICF is, there's a six parts of it to the ecosystem. And so I've been so used to being on the PC side. And now
Yeah.
I'm finding as my coaching skills grow and my interests grow to have more of an interest in the foundation. So I'm doing some work on the foundation side. So it's really been able to broaden and expand my coaching understanding and perspective. So on so many levels. So from the chapter and close friends and networking and to just really the global presence in being
Yeah.
a part of the global organization as well and serving as an evaluator, a reviewer, and all of that, and just connecting with our regional managers. So really escalating my thought process regarding coaching in different levels.
Hmm. Yeah. I'm stuck in the image of like a home base and then you're expanding outward. It's a global
Yeah.
community. It's such a, there's nothing else like it to be a part of.
Right. There's nothing else like it. And I was able to attend Converge in
Hmm.
October, and that expanded even more the
Yeah.
reach to meet and engage and interact with so many amazing and excellent coaches around the world. I
Yeah.
consider myself global. I think locally and act globally. And so I have
Yeah.
lots of connections with people from around the world. And that's very important to me. It doesn't, it broadens my own perspective. I'm not so myopic in my thinking. And I love to travel. So it speaks to that as well. And so I've met so many amazing coaches from around the world. So it's meant a lot to me on many levels.
Yeah. Well, as you think about the 30 years of ICF Tennessee, what would you like to celebrate about this chapter and this community?
I tell you, and I need to backtrack just a little bit. I started with Patricia Leonard, but it was Pat White. She was the very first person that I even spoke to that said, you need to go to a chapter meeting. Because I was
Mm.
really like many, just, okay, I want to do this coaching thing. And where do I begin? And so she was the first person that I met. I think it was online. I saw her name and reached out and called her. And she said, why don't
Wow.
you attend one of the chapter meetings? And so I was like, okay, and then what? And then she was like, and then you need to go to coaching, get in the coaching program, coach you. And so I said, okay. And so at the behest of Pat, I joined. And so 30 years, I mean, I think about people like me who just needed a place, and ICF
Mm.
Tennessee was here for me. And I look at all of the coaches, just thinking about 1996,
Yeah.
Pat, and she's a seasoned consultant based in Nashville, and she was just really burnout. She's just burned out on her consulting work, and she just continued attended this mastermind meeting. And so she says that she attended this meeting in Bermuda. And so
Mm.
she just received this kind of transformative suggestion at the meeting, become a coach. And so it was really, you think about 30 years ago, how Pat, just one word, a few words, become a coach. Even though she was skeptical, viewing coaching as kind of like this California fad, she says, it's like, hmm. And fast forward, she's, at the table with Thomas Leonard, and our history is so rich. And I mention all of that because her passion led her to attend an ICF conference, and
Mm.
and then think, we need this as a state, we need this. And so I believe it started as like the Tennessee Coaches Alliance. And so
Mm.
it really has evolved, and all the presidents, the work that people have done over the years, to bring this organization to fruition, it's been a lot. And it's evolved a lot. We've really grown from, even it started like Nashville-centric. And
Yeah.
so we were saying we were statewide, but we really only had a Nashville-centric focus, right? And we were meeting in person at the Vanderbilt Women's Club, I believe it was, and then C3, and so we really decided, wait a minute, we're saying ICF Tennessee, but we're not
Mm.
thinking about those in Chattanooga, and so Karen Nash, president, became president, and really took it to the next level and saying, hey, we need to be thinking about how we expand. And then Brenda and I, we had a kind of an expansion project where we said, let's reach out to these people who are affiliated with Tennessee, but hey, you know, and then now we are across the state, over 350 coaches, and so and all represented in all areas. And of course, this virtual space enables us to really reach out to more members. And so we were so excited, as a part of our kind of feather in our cap, to receive the prestigious chapter recognition award. I believe that was in 2000, I don't know, maybe around 2020, 2021, that we
Mm.
received that award for just the work that we've done. And so we had our first coaches conference 2 years ago, and in person, and that's awesome. We're going to have another one this year. So many things have come out of just being a part of this chapter over 30 years, Hannah, and then watching it really go from executive coaching, leadership, to wellness coaches and neurodivergent coaches, and just expanding even our and attracting coaches from different disciplines and practices, internal coaches, external coaches. We've just seen
Yeah.
it evolve over the years, and partnering with organizations, and pro bono coaching and peer to peer. And so all of the things that we offer, our connector program, I could go on and on
Mm,
about the things that we have done, even in the past 10 years, that have really expanded our reach to our coaches.
yeah. And their connection to each other.
Yes, so important.
Yeah. So many coaches go at it alone, and it's like you don't have to. And I'd love for you to speak to, and you have already, but just speak to a little bit more of like if they're already a member of ICF Global, why should they consider being a chapter member?
Well, I know they should consider being a chapter member because it's like community.
Mm,
You're building community. Yes, there's a global community and we can talk virtually, but it's nothing like hearing a coach say, "Oh yeah, I met with Liz over coffee." You know,
mm-hmm.
we were able to connect and now we've got this, contract that we've, working on together. And it's because I showed up at a regional meetup, in-person regional meetups, which we have those in the three different regions.
Yeah.
And so it's really building that community. Yes, we have access all the member benefits and all the programming and everything that you can take advantage of. But I believe the biggest part of why you should be a member here is finding that place and the connectivity, as you mentioned, in community personally and finding that tribe, so to speak, that you can connect with on a one-on-one basis and meet in person, even if it is Memphis, or Chattanooga or Knoxville, or come to our conference and, give see people face to face and connect with people that way.
Yeah. There's something so magical about it. I still remember when I met you in person for the first time. I was like,
Absolutely.
I just want to hang out with you all the time.
And I was like, your days are numbered. Uh-huh. Yes. And I remember telling you that, like, Hannah, you just wait. You're going to be in leadership and just you're like, okay, and here you are now, our director of marketing, because of all you're just recognizing, so many people that are just go-getters and just
Yeah.
do the work. Again, like you just put your nose to the plow and just hand to the plow rather and just do it.
Yeah.
And so getting involved and wanting to see the chapter flourish and thrive,
Yeah.
those are the kinds of hours are the kind of opportunities that are benefits of just being a part of the chapter.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a gift to be part of the community. And as we think about the future, what excites you the most about the future of our chapter as well as just the future of coaching?
There have been a lot of research about this is $1 billion industry now. And so I think our biggest concerns are being addressed regarding AI and
Mm,
some of the other advances that are integrated in coaching because we don't want to lose empathy and the connectivity, as we've talked about. We don't want to lose the ability to listen deeply and to be able to connect with our clients and help them transform. But what I'm excited about is really understanding and learning more about the different coaching, the trauma-based coaching, the neurodivergent coaching, some of the other um, coaching disciplines that are very important, that we're seeing well-being, mental health, all of the things that we're seeing the coaching space evolve into. And I believe as we're thinking more about how we can serve our community with being more skilled in these areas, that's really exciting because it's
yeah.
it's reaching them at different levels and deeper levels as well, and helping them understand how no matter what you bring to the coaching table, we're here. We're here for you.
Yeah.
We're here to listen. We're here to serve. And so we're not there's so many stereotypes around coaching, and so it seems that the notion is we're losing kind of the profession, as it were, and the skill behind it. But I think that that's not going to happen with ICF. We're consistently, even on a global level, evolving. Even ICF Global just used to being kind of a U.S. based, right, and now expanding to a true global reach really helps them to understand the diversity of people, and that's the other part of it. The diversity of people and understanding inclusivity and belonging that helps us as a chapter really reach more people and understand the importance of just human beings
Yeah.
and our humanity. That's where I see coaching evolving into is how can we better reach human beings and serve them well on so
Mm.
many levels, and to have the heart, to have the you know, and let's be clear, it's a business as well. We definitely um, have established the business of coaching, and there are ways in which we understand the need to navigate that. And our chapter offers that through our programming. It helps you understand what that needs to look like as a coach to build the infrastructure for yourself, and see yourself and set your own goals as coaches. And so I see us really being able to serve client and coach in so many better ways in the future, and blending and embracing AI and other technologies that we'll need to learn and to know in order to just grow with this fast pacing world that we're living in.
Yeah. And I love that you're saying that it comes back to just being with human beings. Yes, it's a business, it's a practice, but that human connection and that being with people matters more than ever. And people are craving it more than ever.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They're craving it more than ever because you can realize that you, on a device, not only the physical issues that come with just, being on the device all day, whether it's a Zoom or a phone, you just miss a hug. You just miss looking in someone's eyes. And it's different on Zoom. I can look into your beautiful eyes, but it's just so different. The energy that we give off, proven research about just what we kind of experience when we're with people. It makes a difference.
More than we'll know. There's a ripple effect
Yeah.
beyond, like, I always think about that in coaching, like, wow, impacting one person. How many
Yes,
people they go on to impact? Or even as a chapter, our members and who we support and all the people they go on to impact. I can't even fathom it.
absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. I agree.
Wonderful. Well, as we wrap up our first episode celebrating
Hi.
Tennessee's 30 years,
Yeah,
what wisdom feels important to pass on to coaches, whether they're just beginning or they've been doing this for 30 years? What would you like to share?
I have this saying on my desk, and I'm just going to read it. It says, Coach, a passionate, dedicated individual who unlocks hidden potential and maximizes a team's performance by believing, encouraging, and developing. That's become my mantra. And I just like to pass on that wisdom. When we are passionate, when we are dedicated, when we maximize our own potential and our own resources, building relationships, one person at a time, always believing in ourselves, always believing in others, encouraging ourselves, encouraging others, and developing and growing this Kaizen, this constant and continual learning. We can only be our best selves and show up in this world that's in so much disarray, but I believe coaching is like a guiding light
Mm,
for those individuals. And when we really believe in ourselves, others believe in themselves, then we become the best at who we are.
mm. Well, thank you, Anna, for being a guiding light for our chapter. And I can't imagine a better first episode than to start this with you. So thank you so much for all of your wisdom and your encouragement to our community.
Thank you so much, Hannah. This was fun. I'm looking forward to all of the other podcasts and the things that we have you have lined up. So this is going to be great. Thanks for all your work on this again. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Can't wait to share this with the world.
Yes. Thank you.